All right, let's talk Green Bay Packers. Of course, this is NFL draft week, an exciting time, and all eyes are on the NFL draft when it comes to what the Packers and every other team is going to do. But lost in the hustle and bustle, the Packers leadership recently made a really smart move that people need to pay more attention to. It should set themselves up for even bigger moves in the future. We'll get to that in just 1 second. But first, I am Nick, that's Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, this time of year, as we get closer and closer to the draft, everyone's always focused on the rookies, and for good reason. It's fun, exciting, and we'll be right there doing a lot of great reporting, talking about all the moves everybody makes. But sometimes it's not the rookies, it's what you do with these veterans and how you handle certain situations. And the Packers leadership recently made a smart move that I think a lot of people need to focus on. It's really great negotiation stuff. Let's pull up this report courtesy of NBC Sports, and then we'll really dive into what it means on the other side. From the report, linebacker Quay Walker and defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt both joined the team as first-round picks in 2022, so the team can move to secure their return for a fifth season before the deadline to exercise their options early next month. During a press conference on Monday, General Manager Brian Gutekunst said that those decisions haven't been made yet, very interesting, and added that the team wants to keep both players beyond their current deals. We won't deal with that until after the draft, but whatever mechanism we use, we'd like to keep both these guys around for 26 and beyond, Gutekunst said via the team's website. So whether that's through the fifth-year option on these guys or extending them one way or the other, we're planning to do that. We'd like to do that. So his word choice there really matters, and I think this is exactly what the Packers are doing here when it comes to Wyatt and Quay Walker. Basically, what they're saying is we'd like to have you guys both back. We'd really like to, but we're not going to actively commit to it and give you both big money. What Gutekunst is setting up here is a classic example of the prisoner's dilemma. Let's go and pull up this chart here for people who aren't familiar with the prisoner's dilemma. So what the prisoner's dilemma is it involves a scenario where two people are arrested, they're caught in the act. And the cops go to each of these two people in their own different rooms and say, listen, if you rat on the other guy, you walk. That guy then goes to jail for 3 years. If you are quiet and that guy rats on you, the inverse happens, right? You go to jail for 3 years, he walks. If you both rat, you both go to jail for 2 years. If both you guys are silent and don't say anything, you both go to jail for 1 year, like you can see on the chart right in front of you here. Now, the way it works out is that the best move for both prisoners here is to say absolutely nothing and just basically grin and bear that 1 year. The reality is human nature is actually the opposite. Everyone's all itchy to make the first move because they're so scared to have to serve the full 3 years that they end up ratting no matter what and they actually end up hurting their situation. They end up hurting their chances for success, despite the clear better move is just to be quiet and not say anything. What Gutekunst and the Packers leadership is doing here is putting Quay Walker and Wyatt in a prisoner's dilemma situation. The best move for both of these guys right here is to just wait it out. And look, if they become free agents next year, they'll take it and then they'll see whatever the market can get them. The reality is both these guys, though, they know it's draft weekend. The Packers, because every team will do this, will draft multiple people in the front seven. That's not because the Packers really need to. It's because everybody drafts, whether it's the first or seventh round, people in the front seven. So both Wyatt and Walker are going to come out of the draft a little antsy and be like, we got some guys I got to compete with, some young, cheap guys. Do I want to sacrifice maybe getting the biggest deal possible, or do I just want to agree to a team-friendly deal right now? And both these guys, Wyatt and Walker, have been, my opinion, no reporting yet, but I think this has happened, very team-friendly deals from the Green Bay Packers leadership. Not great player deals, but very good team deals. Good money for the players, but better for the team. So right now, whoever gets the deal first and agrees to it first will come out ahead. The best move, again, is for both guys to wait. But with the antsiness of the draft and the timing of this report, it's clear to me the Packers leadership is, again, enacting the prisoner's dilemma. Both you guys, you probably should wait. It's in your best interest, but we know human nature isn't going to allow you to. One of these guys, whoever's first, whether it's Wyatt, whether it's Walker, is going to jump on the team-friendly deal. Again, it's not in their best interest, according to Prisoner's Dilemma, but Gutekunst and the Packers leadership has forced a situation. And guess what, Packers fans? I know this sounds pretty complicated. It's really great negotiation strategy here, and it will get you one, if not both these players, at a discounted price. Again, great job by Green Bay's leadership. All right, Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on all of this. I know I threw a lot at you. This is very interesting stuff. But first, Green Bay fans, in the comment section below, obviously the draft is here, right? It's a fun time over the next few days. So give us the one guy you want the Packers to draft more than anybody else. It could be a guy you want them to get in the first round or the seventh round or anywhere in between. Who's the one guy you want the Green Bay Packers to draft for whatever reason? It doesn't matter why. Just give us the one guy you want Green Bay to add to the fold put them in the comment section below. But Miles, over to you now. What are your thoughts on this latest strategy here by Brian Gutekunst?
Yeah, Nick, I think it's an interesting strategy here because if you break down the possible options and everybody, remember the chart that we had up on the screen, there's four possible options in the prisoner's dilemma. There's nobody talks, and which in this case would be nobody goes. There's no rush to go get a deal done with the Packers. They both waited out, hit free agency. The Packers either have to pay them big deals or they move on to a different team in free agency. That's one option. The other option on the other extreme is both guys get really antsy. Both guys move to the Packers and say, hey, let's go ahead and get a deal done. Let's, like you said, the draft's coming around. Like we see some new blood in the room. That guy looked really good. Could it be somebody that's going to take my job? I don't know. Let's just get something on the books. Could be more team friendly deal here. I'm willing to take it just to extend my future. I want to be with this team and I want some guaranteed money. That's the best case scenario. But then again, if you look at it in this scenario for the Packers, the other two options, the endpoints there, aren't that bad for the Packers either, because that would be one guy moves and they get one guy for a team friendly deal. In the worst case, is either the other guy would walk or the other guy would end up getting a bigger deal. So overall, there's a 75% chance that there's a beneficial deal for the Packers here somewhere. It could be two beneficial deals. It could be one beneficial deal for one guy or one beneficial deal for the other guy. That's what I want to say, beneficial deal towards the Packers end. But overall, this sets up the Packers here to be in a really good spot. There's only a 25% chance that it goes badly for the Packers if you're looking at the chart. Probably not that high in all reality. I think there's, more negotiating power, more, tools that the Packers have. It's not just set in stone. Those are the only four options of what could happen. But overall, when you think about how this could work out, I think this is a really smart move because the Packers have now put themselves in a really beneficial situation. They've upped their chances of getting beneficial deals done. It's a lot of beneficials in there, but I think the Packers mainly they've set themselves up really nicely, and Gutekunst has done what he always does and gets them in a really good situation. So the Packers, they've known what they were doing for a while now. They've gotten a lot of really good team-friendly deals over the past couple of years. We've seen what's happened with them and how they're able to, negotiate contracts and do things like that. I think they've set themselves up for success here, and I really like this strategy, especially timing. Timing is everything. Comes right around the draft. This story comes out just mere days before the draft, and it's going to be in the back of their mind. It's going to be in the back of their agent's mind. Like, hey, Packers are going into the draft. They said they want to keep you, but they drafted that guy. What does that mean for this situation? I think this is just overall overarching good strategy of getting a prisoner dilemma type move here for Gutekunst. Good timing on when you release it, and we'll see what happens in the draft. I think overall this is going to execute, and like I said, there's a 75% chance the Packers get something good out of this. This is just overall good business for the team.
Yeah, and it's the odds you brought up the fact it's 75% going to work out well for Green Bay based on the chart and based on the situation. But I would argue it's actually significantly better because the reason the prisoner's dilemma is such an interesting just case study and intellectual experiment is that despite again, you've got the four squares, almost no one ever falls for the square where they both shut up just because of human nature. It's something to do with loss aversion, right? People, they're afraid to lose something, even though there's a much greater chance to have a higher value return. They'd much rather not give up something, right? It's just the way human beings are wired. It's one of those things. What would you rather have $100,000 today or a 10% chance at 10 million? Right? If you do that expected value math, that 10% of 10 million is worth 1 million bucks. $100,000 guarantee is worth 100,000. That's a lot less than a million. But literally 99% of people take the guaranteed thing. Why? Because we're loss aversive. That's just how we operate. And that's what Gutekunst and the Packers leadership has done perfectly here. And with NFL players, especially these contracts, these situations, these deals, how short their careers are, I guarantee you the agents, the players, they understand. They know in their back of their minds, or maybe in their front of their minds, or maybe in their whole mind, that they only got a few bites at the apple here, right? If they run the risk of not signing a team-friendly deal now and get some decent money, a little bit of guaranteed money on the books, then the reality is there's a chance they go into another offseason and they don't get a big deal and their career kind of winds down and they're done making money. That's in the back of everyone's mind, and they're scared to death to lose what's in front of them. And this is why what Gutekunst did here is absolutely brilliant. This is 100% intentional. Like you mentioned, timing is absolutely everything. The moment he comes out with this report, just so happens to be days before the Packers add a bunch of new players to the roster, right? This is 100% by design. It's a great job of the Green Bay leadership. This is one of the things the Packers do so well more than pretty much every other team is they look at problems a little differently. They don't approach it the same way. I look at the Rams with Les Snead. They have a similar kind of dynamic. They look at different situations and come up with unique ways to solve those problems and react to the NFL landscape. And this is exactly what the Packers are doing here. They've done this a long time. I think a lot of people kind of discredit it a little bit because they just look at the fact they've been so good at quarterback and like, oh, that's why they're good. I mean, you go from Favre to Rodgers to Jordan Love, you're going to be good, which, I mean, there's some merit to that argument. But the reality is the Packers make a lot of really savvy moves at the top of the organization. And this example right here is a phenomenal example of it. But, Miles, I'm going to put you on the spot here now that we're in the final little bits of this episode. Looking at the Green Bay Packers, I asked that in the opening what the Green Bay fans wanted the Packers to get, regardless of where they are in the draft. Who do you want the Packers to get? First round, seventh round? Give me a player that you think should go to Green Bay in a couple days.
I think Green Bay, there's a lot of great players on this team. I think, as far as what they have going on, there's two things that stick out to me here. And, they could get an edge rusher. I think that could be an opportunity, but I think there's two more pressing needs. I think one need is they could get a number one receiver, like a top tier receiver in this draft. There's a lot of receivers in the draft. So I think whether it's the first through third rounds, all of those rounds, you could go dip in and get another really good receiver. I think that could be a good option for this Green Bay team. I think Dobbs is good. I think Watson's good, but injury prone. I think Reed is good as well. I think they could really do, other people on this team, not just me, other players on this team said, we need a number one guy. We need to bring in someone who is a true number one receiver. I like that option. Other option is, does Jair Alexander come back? Is this a guy who is going to be with them for the long term? There really hasn't been much development on that. So if they're thinking maybe he doesn't come back, I think a corner would be really good. There's a lot of great corners in this draft, but those would be likely a day one, first round type of get here. So I think there's a couple options for Green Bay. I like the receiver option, but that's not something you have to get accomplished on day one. You can get some really great receiving talent on day two. So it doesn't really have to be a choice. There's no prisoner's dilemma with your picks here. You could get your corner on day one. You could get your receiver on day two and be set up for a really strong future with this team.